If you just started your bike buying journey, you probably realized pretty quickly how expensive high quality BMX bikes are. And when you talk to anybody, they're gonna say, get a high quality bike, get full chromoly, get double wall rims, get aftermarket parts. And when you find a bike that matches that criteria, your bank account starts to cry, okay? Buying a bike and getting into BMX isn't very cheap, and the cheap options are terrible. Personally, I think if you bought a $200 bike instead of a $600 bike, that $200 bike would break enough times that you could buy 3 of those bikes in the amount of time. Oh God. Let me tell you a story about what happened when I got my first bike. My first bike was less than $300. My parents got it for me for my birthday. It was a BMX bike. It was a DK. I loved it. Okay, but I didn't understand anything about quality or sizing or anything like that. And over time, I broke that bike, in the first few months. I got another bike, another high tensile steel bike that broke in a few months. I got another bike with some chromoly that broke in 6 months. And over time, I spent probably $1,200 over a 2-year period. We probably spent $1,200 on BMX bikes. And so if initially what we would have done is spent that $1,200 on a high quality BMX bike, I wouldn't have broken 4 different bikes, and I would have had a bike that lasted me that whole time and longer, okay? And so what I stress to you guys is to buy something that's the highest quality that you can afford. And sometimes the reality is you can't afford a brand new complete BMX bike, and that's okay. There are lots of used options that still work out pretty good. I have a lot of members in the BMX Nerd Discord who talk about, they'll post a picture of a used bike that they found near them. The other members will jump in and say if that's a good deal or a bad deal. But 9 times out of 10, you can find a really good deal on a used BMX bike. Sometimes you can find a custom BMX bike for a good price used. And if you're diligent and if you look for these deals, you can get a high-end BMX bike for a pretty low price. And for some people, that's going to be the best option. So I just wanted to talk about some things that you should look for and some things that you should know if you're buying a used BMX bike. If it's a complete BMX bike and it's used, it should not cost anywhere near the MSRP. A kink whip is $500. If you see a 2021 kink whip and they're trying to sell it for $400, don't do it, okay? That bike it's 2 years old now, and it shouldn't even be that close to that $500 mark. It's been used, it's been ridden. Even if it's lightly ridden, like you could just spend $100 more in this scenario and get something that is brand new, okay? And so that would be silly. But if you see a $700 We the People Trust on sale for, someone's selling it on Marketplace for $400 or for $350, that's a much better deal, and getting something like that would be okay. But general rule of thumb, stay away from complete bikes that are used that are the same price that they, or close to the same price that they retail at, okay? That's tip number 1. Tip number 2, double check everything if you do buy a used bike. Make sure that the wishbone, the back end, isn't bent. Make sure that nothing's been repainted. If you get a bike that's repainted, it's probably stolen or they're covering up something. Like, just stay away from things and really double check the bike, because there's a lot of sad stories that pop up of people getting scammed buying a used BMX bike, and that's what I don't want to happen to you. Now, if it's a custom BMX bike, it's always good to plug in the parts that the owner says comes with the bike and see what the prices actually are. You can build a custom BMX bike for maybe around $1,000, and that's using pretty cheap parts. And so if someone's selling a custom BMX bike that really only costs them $1,000 to build, and they're trying to get $800 for it, and they've had it for a while, like that's a bad deal. But if somebody built up a really nice $1,400 BMX bike and they just want to get rid of it, they're going to sell it for $600 or $700, you're getting a crazy good deal. And those are the deals that you should find if you want a real good quality BMX bike and you don't want to spend a ton of money. They're not always out there, but if you are patient and you keep looking for the right deal, you will be able to find one that's a high quality bike for a good price, because people just need to get rid of it, and the BMX thing just keeps happening. So if you can't afford a high-end complete BMX bike, but you know that you need a high-end BMX bike, check out Facebook Marketplace, check out eBay, check out places where you can buy secondhand bikes, and try and get yourself a good custom BMX bike for a really good price. If you have questions about a bike that you look at, or you see a bike you want to know if it's any good, you can post pictures in the BMX Nerds Discord. The link to join is in the description.